It's the same testimony that we have. He wasn't saved yet, but he has more courage than many Christians. Now we know, verse 31, that God does not hear sinners, but if anyone is a worshiper of God and does His will, He hears him. This is the blind man teaching them theology. That didn't go over very well with the experts. He continues, since the world began, it has been unheard of that anyone opened the eyes of the one who born blind. Now I want you to think about what I just said. I'm almost done. The former blind man knew something. And I want you to see his hopeless condition. He is just saying there is no recorded history that a man born blind would ever see. What hope do you think he had? And I believe him being born blind to the glory of God is just like Zacharias and Elizabeth having a barren womb until the very end so they can get John the Baptist, Mary and Joseph, Abraham. God does all these things. So people will say there's no other it's medical, it's natural, it's psychological. No, it's divine. Where are you from, Jesus? I am from heaven. You are from earth, I am from heaven. The blind man says, He is from above. I know that much. Verse 33, if this man were not from God, he could do nothing. Simple, pure, right theology. They answered and said to him, you were completely born in sin. You know what they're doing? They're doing what the disciples did at the beginning. You're blind because you sinned. I don't even want to go into all the possibilities of how you can be born blind. There are some very, very bad ones that are true today, and one of them is sexually transmitted diseases. You can be born blind because of gonorrhea. It's been a problem since the beginning of time. That's a recorded history. So, you know, you could see how they would take a cheap shot and say your sin or your mother or some kind of circumstance, but that's not where Jesus goes. You are teaching us, and they cast him out. They cast him out. The Greek word means they excommunicated him. They didn't say you're free to go. They said you are no longer welcome here ever. You are being removed officially. To lose membership, but to gain salvation. I'll take that deal. You take that deal any day? You know, the smart aleck in me would want to say, I've been kicked out of better synagogues than this. It's not true. Let's finish. It's far from over. Jesus heard, verse 35, that he had been cast out. And when he found him, he said to him, do you believe in the Son of God? You know what we do as Christians? We got so much small talk sometimes, and that's not all bad. Jesus shows this urgency. He goes, what happened? How are your parents? Are they doing okay? He goes straight to the heart of the matter. The most important question is the one that Jesus is addressing. Do you believe in the Son of God? And he answered and said, who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him? It's precious. And Jesus said to him, you have both seen him, and it is he who is talking with you. And then he said, Lord, I believe. I'm going to say that again, just to try to give you a response. There should be a response here. And he said, Lord, I believe. He's joined us. We've joined him as believers. How do we know he's a true believer? Well, we're told in this verse, and he proskuneo him. He worshipped him. Proskuneo, to kiss towards someone in adoration. The most literal definition, what proskuneo looks like, it looks like this. That's what it looks like. Whenever I think of that and I remember studying proskuneo, it marks me as odd that the Muslims have the right exterior and the wrong God. We have the right God. I think we lack a proskuneo spirit sometimes. He worshipped him, fell on his feet, kissed towards him in adoration, something you never do to a man, something that is only to be done to God. And Jesus said, for judgment I've come into the world, By the way, there's a crowd around him, and Jesus is loud like me. For judgment I've come into the world, that those who do not see may see. See, that's why I believe the whole chapter is about fallen humanity. We're all blind, and he wants us to see. If you say, I'm blind today, he will save you. If you will admit you're blind to the way to heaven, if you admit that you're blind on how to be forgiven, if you are blind about who Jesus is, you say, I want to see, I want to believe in Jesus, I want to follow him, today he will do that for you. But if you want to do what the Pharisee and say, I see fine, Jesus says you're going to stay blind then. For judgment I've come into the world, that those who do not see may see, and that those who see may be made blind. Then some of the Pharisees who were with him heard these words. They heard it. And they said to him, Are we blind also? And Jesus said, If you were blind, you would have no sin. But now you say, We see, therefore your sin remains.